So what makes a good story? First of all, let me preface this by saying that the Hatcher Group, along with the Center on Budget and Policy Priorities and Hart Research Associates, conducted some polling work and messaging research around the EITC and broader safety net programs back in 2012. And this work really helped to inform our communications efforts around the issue because it showed what messages around lower income taxpayers are most effective and for a broader audience. So anyone who's interested in learning more about that research we did can email me after the presentation. I'd be happy to discuss that further with you. But for today, I'm going to talk about what this messaging research taught us about effective storytelling. So number one, you want to be on the lookout for sympathetic situations. Single mothers and fathers are particularly compelling storytellers. You know, the majority of Americans identify with family as a core value, so that also includes grandparents raising children, also others caring for elderly or disabled dependents. Those have proven to be very compelling storytellers. Second, you want to select a family or an individual that demonstrably works hard. So parents who work full-time, or maybe they used to work full-time, but they're now unable to because their employer cut back on their hours. These recipients are especially compelling because they illustrate the idea that a lot of safety net programs like the EITC are really temporary work supports during tough times. Third, clients that are newer to VITA, as you'll see on the right, they can illustrate that they can really make the comparison between the tax refunds that they received prior to VITA and then the refund that they're receiving now and what they're able to do with the extra money that they're now receiving. Members of the military poll extremely well. That also includes veterans. And business owners are extremely well liked. So finding a business owner that can speak to how VITA services allowed his or her business to thrive, a VITA client that is a business owner, or you might even be able to find a business owner who can speak to the fact that the EITC is good for business because it puts money back into the pockets of local consumers. So you really have a win-win with business owners. Next slide, please. So what should you avoid? You want to avoid picking families that fit stereotypes about dependent people. So what do I mean by this? Don't select a family with a lot of children or one that's been on welfare for a lengthy period of time. We all remember the infamous Mitt Romney 47%er quote. It's important to make sure that you emphasize that your storytellers are not takers. They're working hard to improve their situation. You want to avoid mentioning exactly how much money your storyteller makes. So this is kind of a different one because people tend to pick apart their income and make assumptions about how they're managing their money. So for example, if you tell the story of an individual who makes, say, $30,000 a year, someone who makes a similar amount can be offended by that and wonder why they're not receiving any help you know, on their taxes, things like that. People tend to pick it apart, so that's just something to be aware of. And then just as a side note, you want to be prepared to have to defend your storyteller. You all do this work regularly. You know the stereotypes and the negative feelings that exist about people who collect tax benefits. So when you're telling someone's story, you're really putting their personal information out there for others to judge, and you just want to be able to be prepared to defend that. So how can I capture a story? Those of you that work as VITA preparers, you know your clients pretty well. You likely already have a few ideas of who might make a great storyteller. So you want to explain to your clients first the importance of storytelling to help keep VITA sites well-resourced, and then ask if they'd be willing to share their personal experiences. So make sure to be clear on how you plan to use their story. This kind of helps put them at ease about sharing something so personal with you. And then make sure to have your storyteller sign a content release form. So this allows you to use their information. And then you want to schedule a time to interview them. So whether that's over the phone, could be in person, or you could do a video interview. And you want to start by asking basic questions about where they're employed, their family structure, et cetera. But you also want to ask questions that will provoke meaningful conversation around VITA and the importance of VITA. So things like, how are you filing your taxes before using VITA? Why did you choose to start coming to our VITA site? How do you typically use your tax refund? And just as a side note, I mean, these interviews can also be a great chance to do some background research on how to reach more clients for your VITA site. So, I mean, ask your storyteller how they first heard about your site, and then use their ideas to be able to reach more clientele. Next slide, please. Crafting your story. So if your story is written and not in the form of a video, it's really important to try to use a picture of the storyteller or some kind of visual. Again, we have this aspect of really humanizing the story when there's a picture involved, and it also makes your story more credible. So as, are the slides not moving? Oh, there we go, visuals. And then as you're compiling the story, you want to start off first by emphasizing the fact that your storyteller is working and therefore is paying income tax, also as well as other taxes like sales and payroll. And this, again, goes back to the 47%er idea. You're really emphasizing that this person is working and giving back to their community. Next, you want to try to use statistics when possible. So include the number of people that were served by your VITA site or the total VITA sites in your community, and then emphasize the fact that your storyteller is one of many who has benefited or could benefit from these services. Lastly, you want to try to include a direct quote from your storyteller, and we'll go into this a bit when I talk more about video storytelling, but this is really a great way to personalize your story and make an impact.